Okay, hello everybody. Welcome to Korean Atlanta Mentorship. And today's Monday, and we're going to kick off this beautiful Monday with another banging Velocity Banking review session. It's another refresher session for all of you so that you can cement these concepts in your head. And you know what? You know why I'm excited? Because we're on YouTube, and the beauty of YouTube is that only people who want to watch your videos get to watch your videos versus if I taught at a school, probably most of the students there don't even want to be there. And I only want students who want to be here, which is why I'm excited to teach all of you Velocity Banking. Now, if you don't know what Velocity Banking is, all it is a simple strategy to pay off your debts using lines of credit as your main tool. And there's only two things that you need for it. So, number one is a budget, which I've already done for you. We have two credit cards, we have an auto loan, we got a mortgage, we have $72,000 gross income, and after all expenses paid, about $518, right? We've already done that. And then now we need to select a line of credit as a main operating account. So what's a line of credit? All it is a tool where you could borrow money, pay back, and use it over and over again, right? Credit cards are like that. There's also other types of lines of credit, like personal, home equity, right? If I have all of them. In fact, right now, at this stage of my life, I have over $248,000 in lines of credit. Most of them credit cards, $50,000 home equity line of credit, and a $15,000 personal line of credit. Now, the whole goal of Velocity Banking is just two things. One, sorry, we're going to make the same income, right? We don't assume we make more income, although more income would be fantastic. The other thing, too, is that we're not going to have savings, right? So this freaks a lot of people out to have zero savings. But if you ever look at my checking or savings account, it's always a big fat zero. And if I ever get money in my checking or savings account, then the next day it's gone, right? Because if you don't know what the strategy is you're putting your entire paycheck into a line of credit and you're taking your expenses out. Now, do you need to get rid of your checking account? Absolutely not. You should have a checking account. It's just you take out the expenses from the line of credit to checking account whenever you need to pay something. And usually for me, it's just a credit card bill. I don't know if this is advanced, but basically, I love to use both credit cards and a home equity line of credit for using this strategy. Again, for this strategy, or for this video, let's just assume that we're just using a line of credit. So what we have to do, right, is we have to now select our line of credit as a main operating account. So we have a $240,000 mortgage. So if we have a mortgage, guess what? That means we're a homeowner, right? And maybe we have something called equity. If you don't know what equity is, all it is the price of your home, like the sales price. If you're going to put a for sale sign today, what do you think you would get minus the debts, right? And then banks will lend you 80 to 90% of it, okay? And so let's just assume that we have something like a credit card based on the value of your home. That's what a home equity line of credit is. And the bank is willing to lend us maybe 30,000, up to 30,000, okay? Now all we got to do is just kind of do some refactoring, shuffling some debt to create some cash flow, and you'll see how we can pay off our debts doing that, right? So let's go ahead and shuffle some of our debts, okay? So we're not going to make more income, but we're going to do a little bit of debt transfer. So I see these two credit cards, okay, 25 grand. So what if I move this 25 grand into the home equity line of credit? Okay? So now what this guess what? This becomes zero. This becomes zero. And look how these expenses just kind of magically decrease. And then now it's we got to calculate cash flow. Now that's 13 almost $1,400. My mind's blown, right? And I even make more money. So the whole strategy is we're going to put our entire paycheck here, take out our expenses, and then our balance will go down by our cash flow plus the interest of the line of credit. Okay, and so let's go ahead and just put in some formulas here. So it'll be the previous month's balance, or not month plus one to get the next month. If we want the current balance, it's the previous month's balance plus the previous month's interest. Whoopsie, J2 minus our cash flow. So right now our cash flow is 1381.34, right? And then now we have to calculate our interest, so we're going to go ahead and do that. And again, if these formulas are like confusing to you or like this is totally new, don't worry, just pause this video, just write down this formula. But basically, in order to get the interest, it's the average daily balance. Again, so this is an estimate of the average daily balance, and you multiply it by the interest rate, so it's zero point 0.1, right? So that's 10% here, and then you divide by 12, right? Divide by 12. Why? Because the interest rate is quoted annually. That's why I say APR, annual percentage rate. We just want to get the monthly interest, okay? So now we do that, And then now what we're going to do, guess what, is just pay the sucker off. And we know it's paid off when we see the red numbers, right? So now at month 19, that's how long it takes us to pay off this $25,000 of debt, right? So what we're going to do is just put some milestones here. So milestones, I'm going to do this here. So this is going to take us 19 months for 25K of debt, right? So these two. And actually, let's count. Let's add up how much debt we're paying off, right? So let's just do this: 10 plus 15 plus 15 plus 240. So you see this right here: 10, 15, 15, 240. So approximately 280K of debt. So pay off 280K of debt, right? Okay. So now that we've done that, we got to determine what are we going to focus on? The auto loan or the mortgage, right? And so there's actually debt criteria or debt payoff criteria you can use, and there's two types, right? So there's the standard one, which is look for debts that have the lowest balance, the highest interest rate, and the highest payment, right? So if I take a look here, which one has the lowest balance? The auto loan, right? Which one has the highest payment? The mortgage. And which one has the highest interest rate? The auto loan, right? So the auto loan fits more of the criteria, so I'll just use this. You can also use something called the cash flow index, which is a formula that takes a look at the proportion of the balance compared to the payment. And if you've never done the cash flow index, I'll just do that for you. So we'll call it cash flow index. Again, it's a really simple formula where you take the balance of 726.77 divided by 372.86. It'll give you this number, right? And I'll take this one, so 240,000 divided by 1045.8, 209. Wow, that's insane. Okay, so if you don't have never heard of this, basically think of this as a ranking system. And if it's below 40, okay, if it's below 50, um, you want to pay it off, right? And if it's above 100, you definitely want to pay that off last. It doesn't mean you don't want to pay it off, because if you ever look at a 4% mortgage on $240,000, you're going to pay at least 50% interest by the year of end of year 30, right? But basically, if you ever look at the explanation, it's saying that anything under 50 that's quote an inefficient loan, meaning you have to pay a lot of payment compared to the statement balance, right? Whereas if you pay it off this mortgage, $240,000 first, you get little itty bitty $1,000 or $1,100 in comparison. Okay, so basically that's all that means. So the auto loan fits both criteria. So I'm gonna use both of these debt criteria. So I'm gonna pay off the auto loan. Okay, and so at this point, let's figure out what the actual balance is after 19 months. Okay, so let's take a look here. And I think the original balance was 20 grand. Okay, so 20 grand for 5 years for 4.5 interest or 4.5% interest. Let me just take a look. Yeah, so let's go ahead, calculate that. And the way that you know if this is correct is if the monthly payment um, appears correct. So 372.86, that's correct. And now we got to go into month 19. 19. So that would be 14 grand, 14.41. No. I'm sorry. So that we're at 15 grand when we first started, right? So 15.726.77, and then we gotta move down 19 steps. So one, two, all right. So actually, let me just do this. Those be 12 plus 7. So 12. And actually, hold on. I hope I'm not overcomplicating this. So we're gonna be here at 15.726, right? And then we're gonna go ahead and go to 19 months. So what's 14 plus 19? 14 plus 19 would be 33. So we're at 9 grand. Okay. So let's go back here. So 9 grand. All right. So why don't we recalculate this? So our cash flow index at this point is going to be a lot lower, 9,507.33. And definitely we can pay this off. So let's go ahead and pay this sucker off. And now let's add this right here. And guess what? our new cash flow is 1,700, right? So now what we have to do is write this down. So that'll be 1754.2, okay? And now let's go ahead. Whoopsie, I screwed up. All right, sorry. My mouse dropped too. So let's go ahead here. Wait, hold on. I screwed up again. Where did it go? All right. So I'm sorry. Let me do that again. All right. So now we're gonna move this $9,500 into here, into when we paid off the loan, right? And so I'm going to highlight this and put it here. Take out the comma. All right, and then what's our new cash flow? This is going to be 0. It's going to be 1754.20. Okay, and let's see how long it takes to pay this off. So at 24 months, let's go ahead and highlight this, 24 months, we're going to pay it off. So 24 months, we're going to pay off, we'll just estimate 25 plus 15, which is about, if I could just do math in my head, 40K. Okay? And then now is our mortgage. So what we have to do is figure out what the balance of our mortgage is at month 24. So it's about 2 years. And we're going to assume this was just a brand new home. So 240,000 at 4 and then 30 years. Okay? So now let's go to month 24, the second year, and it's going to be 231,000, right? So 231,000. And as I said before, if you don't pay this off and you just make the third payment for 30 years, yeah, it's a low payment, but guess what? You're going to pay $172,000 of interest after 30 years, right? So this is essentially a 42% total interest. Isn't that insane? All right, so let's go here, 231, and let's calculate our new cash flow index. So 231,374.83, right? So again, it's still a high cash flow index. And here's the thing: at this point, if you're dealing with a loan that has a low interest rate and a low payment, you have two options. You could just, simply put your entire cash flow directly from your savings into here, or you could still use a line of credit. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. With Velocity Banking, they'll essentially kind of be the same with overpaying or using Velocity Banking, right? But there's advantages and disadvantages to both. Being like, oh, you're going to use a line of credit that has a higher interest rate to pay off your loan. Why would you do that when you could do it through savings? Most people in general cannot do that with their savings because they know that if they directly overpay their savings, guess what? That money is gone. Your liquidity is gone, right? And that's like the default option. Now, if you want to do Velocity Banking at this point, you certainly can. What you would do is just transfer chunks of the debt directly into the mortgage and just pay it off. So, for example, let's say at this point I wanted to pay off $4,400, which is the size of my paycheck, 4,400. Okay, well, I think it's the end of here. How long would it take us to go from 231 minus 4,000, which should be 228? Well, would it be 228? Let me think about this 1 second. So 231. So equals 231 minus 000 minus 4,100. Okay. Oh, it's 226, not 2. I can't do math, as you can see, which is why I need Excel. All right, so 231 to 226, it probably take us about a year, right? You see this, it took us about a year. Whereas if we could just do this, and let's say we put in that 4,400 here, and use our cash flow to pay it off, it takes us only 2 months, right? Only 2 months to really pay it off. And then we just repeat the process over and over again, which is what happens when you have like these lower interest rate loans, but you still want a place to park your money in one place. And I know like that seems kind of stupid. Like, what's the big deal of parking your money in one place? Because one of the big reasons why six-figure people are broke is this phenomenon called segregation of income. Now, look up segregation of income in this channel. I get to a more detailed explanation, but um, usually what happens and the way that traditional banking works is that your paycheck comes in, your money split all over the place, therefore not being effective. Now, at this stage, it's not really going to matter, or but it might, but it's just going to help you not experience that segregation of income effect. But we luckily we have this velocity banking calculator to kind of help us figure out how long it would take to pay this everything off. And all we have to do is just type in the numbers. So 240 000 240 000. What's the interest rate? It's 4.5%, I believe. Let me just check. All right. No, it's 4%. And what's the payment amount? It is 1145.8. And then we just put the chunk amount as essentially our paycheck, 4,400. And if you play around with this, you'll realize like it's like small amounts are really resistant to the interest rate just as long as you have the cash flow. I always just like to put my paycheck um, for this. Hold on, let me see. And what's the interest rate of the line of credit? It's 10%. What's our monthly income? Our monthly income is, where is it? Our monthly income. Oh, 4,400. What am I talking about? All right. And all the expenses is everything except for the loan. So this would be 1,500, right? And you can see that gets paid off in 8.2 years, right? So here, what's 24 months plus 8.2 years? Well, actually, let me, so we're paying this off, right? And then at this stage, we're at 231. So let me actually do this. So 231. That's the amount where we're really working this. So 7.9 years, right? So now it's 2 plus 7.9, which should be 9.9 years, and that would be 280K of debt, right? And actually, I gotta put a K here. All right, so we got $280,000 of debt paid off in about 10 years, which is not bad. Now, here's the thing: at this salary, I probably wouldn't get a $300,000 house, right? Because the most important thing when it comes to paying off houses, mortgages, or any sort of debt is you want the least amount of purchase price possible, right? They say the easiest way to create wealth out of thin air in real estate is just buy it at a discount, and that's what you want to do. And so, if you ever seen the other situations where, like, I go through this, I always assume like we bought a $300,000 house for like $200,000 or something like that, right? And you'll notice it pays off a lot quicker. Now, 10 years is pretty good because the average American takes about, I don't know, 52 years to pay off a 30-year mortgage, right? And if you don't know what I mean by that, look at what refinancing does, right? If you don't know what refinancing is, a lot of Americans get tempted to refinance because you restart the loan, right? You just restart that loan. All right, so, well, this is Korean Atlanta Mentorship. Happy Monday. Um, if you have any questions, comments about Velocity Banking, leave a comment down below, right? Maybe you don't get this and you have no idea what the value of it is. And if you don't, then realize that at least 50% of six-figure earners in this country live paycheck to paycheck. And you can look that up on Google. So this might be a tool that could help them. I'm not saying 100% it will be, but it might be a tool. Also, if you're interested in joining our group, go ahead and click the Google form link below. Other than that, have a great day, and we will speak next time.